And one. I said you got to
And
come on first.
and oh, I know. And hey, everybody, how are you? I'm sorry, we're just
Hmm.
sitting here doing
You didn't believe me.
our own. No,
Uh,
I did believe you, but I was expecting
okay.
something different. But never
Well,
mind.
let me
But
continue
here we
on to do
are.
the
Yes,
engineering work,
you continue
ma'am,
with the
while
engineering, and
you do
I
your
am
thing.
doing my thing or
Hmm.
our thing.
Hmm.
So we are taking the journey together, and we're so glad that you're with us again this week. I am Sharon or Zare, and we are here together with my lovely, handsome,
I
wonderful
got to get used to
husband,
that.
um,
I got to get
Craig
used
or
to
Imar.
having that heavenly type of energy coming out of you here on earth. Because, most of us black folks, we were taught through our DNA, especially back through enslavement, that when it comes to heavenly stuff like that, we will get that in heaven. We ain't going to get it here on earth. And how many stereotypes do we see where there is a red fox and who?
On Esther.
Aunt Esther, as an example of how I'm thinking about moving on up to how many times a
Yeah.
black man and a black woman's relationship is at odds,
Yes.
not really connected, not really friends whatsoever. So the idea of them having a heaven on earth between each other, nah, that just don't exist. You gotta wait till one of you die. Hopefully both of you die. Hopefully you'll see each other in heaven. Maybe not.
As the
And
old
that's it.
folks used to say, I'll meet you on the other side.
Exactly. But here it ain't gonna happen.
Yeah.
So thank you for presenting that. I won't reject that. I won't be like a Reagan guy to let it bounce off of my Teflon. I'll let that come and soak it and say, I appreciate it, baby. I really do appreciate it. Brother, need that once in a while, if not all the time. Thank you.
Absolutely. You are very welcome.
Hmm.
And so we are enjoying the time that we have together here, and just really kind of living it up. We had a wonderful weekend this past weekend out on River Street. We've
Hmm.
had a very hectic and busy week so far that's about to come to an end. Um, and looking forward to doing something this weekend that's building memories, which is easier for me to want to say than obviously to say it. So, um, but I'm really excited and feeling good about where we're going at this point, and I feel like I have a lot more energy after the little conversation that we had as friends a few minutes ago, just before
Gee,
the show
I got a
started.
nice looking
Oh
RV
yeah,
too. Wow.
and so I want to start off with our belief statement.
Mission, motto.
Belief.
Okay.
And this is what our belief statement says. We are going to relate. It doesn't matter what your mother says, your father says, children, or even what Jesus says, we are going to relate. At taking the journey together, we believe in relating in a balanced manner. Balanced relationships are the ones that are entered into as friends first and lovers second, but has both aspects in each partner. And it was like over the weekend, we met this couple.
Mm-hmm.
Um, let's see, her.
We got a person watching
I'm
too.
trying to.
While you're going here and go, we got
Yes,
one. We
yes,
got two
yes.
people going. We got a
I'm trying.
Tony Kroos, I think it's Tony Kroos.
Mhm.
Yeah, hello there. How you doing, sir? And we've got a good evening, everyone, from Tom Harris.
Yes.
Thank you, thank you. Go ahead.
And so we met a couple over the weekend
Mm-hmm.
who were celebrating their 20th wedding anniversary.
Oh
And they
yeah,
come to Savannah every year to celebrate their
saw them on
anniversary.
River Street where we do an
Yes.
event for the last 10 years on River Street in Savannah, Georgia, every third
Yeah.
weekend of the month. Yeah, we saw them out there.
And I'm trying to remember their names, but anyway, I think her name was Linda,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm trying to remember his. But at any rate, they have been together. They were married for 30 years, 20
Yeah.
years, but they
Mm-hmm.
were together 10 years before that. And they met as neighbors.
Yes.
And he said that they were friends for a long time leading up to the marriage. And
Mm-hmm.
they were just sitting there and they were just kind of hanging out, and just you could tell that they were just really enjoying each
Each other.
other.
Yeah, they did.
And he came over and asked asked Imar to play a particular
Song
song
for 'em. Uh-huh.
because it was their anniversary and
Hmm.
that they were celebrating. And it was just really a lovely event. And when we started talking about that aspect of what they were doing, it just made a big
What?
difference.
We're doing fine too, Thomas. We're doing fine tonight, moving forward, and at the same time trying to make sure we resonate together. Important in the relationship when you're doing
Yes.
that. What was one of the main things that we said? Those said it was a black couple too, real cool. What was the main thing that we said to them as a black couple? We asked them, what was it as for the ingredient that really was your foundation that keeps you two together? What was it?
They were friends.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly. They
they were
said that
friends.
you were friends. Get your mic up there.
Okay.
Yeah, they said we were friends. We just like almost danced and shouted and it had church
Yeah, we did.
because that's the same
And we
thing we
just,
talk about in a
yes, and
relationship,
we
a
got
balanced relationship.
really
Hmm.
excited and just kind of looked at each other and was
As a
like,
good example,
wow, yeah,
that's a good example that
yeah.
we could look forward to the same thing with
Uh-huh.
that many years, and they came down just to celebrate it, and they looked like they were two young couples out of high school, didn't they?
They did.
They kind of acted that way too.
Yeah.
They
And
were in
they,
their own
and
world doing their own thing, weren't
they
they?
were, I don't know how long they had sat over on the side of the stage before
Mm-hmm.
he came over because they looked very comfortable just sitting there. And obviously they had been there for a minute,
Mm-hmm.
just listening to the music and stuff. But it felt really good.
Yeah,
And good evening, Jamie Parker. And we're glad that you're watching again.
exactly, exactly. So what excites me about being able to see those kind of realities of relationships that have been out there for a while, and then they give you the feedback that friendship is that foundation. It just confirms that much more of the visionary statement and belief that we see with taking the journey together, which is all about that relationship based on that foundation called
Hmm.
friendship.
Yes.
And we're not talking about associate friendship. We're talking about true friendship from that end. And we know and look
And
at
we're not talking about roommate friendship either.
exactly, yeah, yeah, yeah. The long term. You just threw me a little bit,
I'm
but
sorry.
the long, you're like my roommate too. But anyway, the
But
long,
no, that's
you
not
just
what I
don't go in the morning. But
that's
sometimes roommates don't go in the morning either.
yeah, that's
I mean, come on, when you since you want to talk about
yeah.
that
When I say roommates, I mean, we just we're married, we live
with
in the
children,
same house, but we
cats
don't
and
do
dogs.
anything together. You have your way that you go, I have my way that I go, and but we share in the bills and that type of thing. That's a roommate marriage.
Ah, okay. So that's what you explain. Everybody out there that's had a roommate marriage, that's in a roommate marriage, raise your hand. Called living together usually is that basic. Doesn't necessarily mean it starts with that or it ends with that. But
Right.
I understand what you're saying. You're basically saying that the friendship you're referring to is something that's more than those basics. One
Exactly.
thing is for sure, that's something that's there. How it's shared, how
Hmm.
in turn you both express it is definitely going to be
Yeah.
different. It will be more than just a job. But one thing is for sure, you're talking about something that's a little bit more deeper, a
Hmm.
little more expansive, and especially when you call it love, or in this case, we look at friendship as being part of love.
Right.
Because a roommate may not like you at all.
Yeah.
And they may not
It's
even be a friend at all,
it,
and but they're still taking care of those responsibilities.
exactly. It's like something you said the other day that I had to fall into and embrace wholeheartedly
Mm-hmm.
because of I agreed with that so deeply. It's
Mm-hmm.
when we had this opportunity to go someplace and be there for like 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
And then we were looking at other ways that we could maneuver around it. But no matter how we looked at it, there was going to be one full month at least where I wouldn't be able to be there. And it
Mm-hmm.
was a matter of going and how do we go and how do we not go? And we were talking about taking that trip, making that move, going that distance,
Mm-hmm.
um, you by yourself and then me coming on later.
Mm-hmm.
And you said, I really would like for you to be with me because I enjoy your company. I
Mm-hmm.
genuinely enjoy your company. And I was all over that because I feel the same way about yours.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the difference in a roommate relationship and a friend relationship
Mm-hmm.
that is connected to marriage or a committed
Mm-hmm.
relationship. If we were not friends, we would not be able to say, I genuinely enjoy your company
Wow.
that way.
Well, I'm going to start now going down your route. I know you're like, oh, don't do that. Are you? Is it a trick? No, it's because our topic is financial awareness, or financial awareness,
Yes.
and we had Florence, who was what?
Mad Flow.
Mad Flo was on our show before. I wish she was back
Last
again.
week.
And last week, and she just talked about the need for the job side. It can be encouraging. It can be also too something you can whistle while you work,
Mhm.
which is the finances in the relationship. And as she brought up
Yes.
before, finances sometimes can be one of the deadly, what I call horses of death
Yeah, death
in a
knell.
relationship. Exactly. So we're going to continue on that. And we talked about before how we were going to talk about some of those strategies when it comes to not just paying bills, but that's important.
Mhm.
And we had some additional strategies we talked about, which were some fun things that can be done
Yes.
in the relationship when it comes to taking care of your responsibilities in your relationship. Well,
Mhm.
we're not going to necessarily go through all of the fun ones yet because I have to admit I got much mad love for Mad Florence.
Mad Flow.
Mad Flo. I forgot she would say the same thing
Yes.
too, which is she usually likes to get to the nitty gritty, doesn't she?
Mhm. Oh yeah.
And she can spit out that nitty gritty. No wonder why she's a director and all that other good stuff. She can, spit it out in such a way. I bet you little squirrels will say, I'll sign up, ma'am. You helped me save a lot of nuts.
Don't
Anyway,
have to use my cheeks anymore.
exactly.
Yeah.
So we're going to continue on because she's not here, but hopefully she'll be on the next one. She's probably flying someplace. And we're going to incorporate in our events that we do pretty soon. We did more than one, but we got a cruise coming up we'll be talking about later on. And we're talking about, in this case, I guess a topic or a coin word, if you may want to say, that we're looking at when it comes to your personal finances and your relationship, called save. How many times have you heard that one of the biggest problems right now is that we don't save in this country?
Right.
We don't save at all. We were watching last night on the TV show how hundreds and hundreds of thousands in European America are paying big money on clothes. And many of the clothes that they're buying, many clothes they pick up, they're thrown away
Yeah.
in good shape,
And
not even worn,
and just to buy new ones.
just to buy new ones. And all of those clothes, most of us think, well, they go to the dumpster, they go to the dump yard. But we don't even consider, in this case, when it comes to finances, and we're going down a road that we're talking about how we deal with finances and relationship. We don't do enough saving, we do more expending, and we don't think about where do those clothes go? What happens to all those clothes after they are worn out and they go to what? The dumpster. Someone
Yes.
said, wow, yeah, David, was it Hussey? Yes.
Yeah.
What we found out watching this show.
Mhm.
And where do most of those clothes go?
Most of them go to Ghana.
Yes, they go to Ghana, a country in Africa.
All
Dumped.
over. I mean, the site of the beach was just, it was just miles and miles and miles high and wide of discarded clothing.
Yeah, so they in the clothing manufacturing world, it's called the clothing cycle.
Yeah.
You have a beginning, and then you have the end. There's another word besides end of the cycle. I forgot exactly what it is in the financial world, but I guess the end is finally when the product no longer exists as that product anymore,
Right.
and can't be used anymore by a human being. And so that's what we saw, all caught up on the beach. Many of it, they showed like a whole island out in the ocean, just floating out in the ocean.
And the water
Unbelievable.
was being contaminated with the different dyes that are in the clothing.
Exactly.
And the things that have been put into the fabrics to make them hold up and last longer and things like that. And it was just really,
It's terrible.
it was just really sad.
It was. Now the folks were in Ghana, right?
Hmm.
Of course, I've never seen. Whenever I've seen the sales pitch or touring pitch that had to do with Ghana over in the Mother Africa, I've never seen the that side of Ghana at all.
Hmm.
But obviously, it's there and it's large as
Yes.
be. In the marketplace itself, there are people there who are getting those clothes in big bundles, carrying them on their head, hundreds of pounds each. They're doing it
Mhm.
every day, adding physical cost to the bodies, and they're selling it in the marketplace. And the what is it? Not tooling them, but what?
Refurbishing,
Ref-
not refurbishing,
no, what's
but
the word?
redesigning them.
Redesigning them to be personal, like custom fit for
Mhm.
those who are in that particular country.
Yeah,
But most of it was being just dumped
exactly.
in the ocean and on the beach. It was just absolutely
And it's so
unbelievable.
much that there's no way it can be cleaned up at this point.
No, no,
You know,
no, no.
you would have to bring um, heavy machinery in to scoop it up and then
Mhm.
put it into trucks and then cart it where. And
Exactly.
some of it has been burned and
Well,
then dumped there.
that was the other thing. They showed another young Frenchman, and then his kids took over, and he saw the waste of the clothes because he worked with a lot of the famous designers
Hmm.
stores, and he saw the
Yeah,
waste, and so he came up with an idea of taking the clothes apart, and then what?
and he would sort them out by colors,
Mm-hmm.
and then he would take the piles and piles of the different rags that were that came from that and turn it back into yarn.
Fabric and thread
Turn,
to
turn
be
it
used
back
again.
in, turn it back into the threads so that it can be made into something new.
I guess one of the we're talking
Yeah.
about recycling.
Oh yeah.
They're one of the biggest. They've been doing it for almost 40 some years.
Yes.
One of the largest company in at least in the world
Yeah.
that handles all the Europe and America's clothes that are
Mhm.
just be thrown away. So we're talking about here again how when it comes to save, we're not doing much save because a lot of that clothes that we buy, we're buying more than what we need.
Yes. And now with the cheap clothing that you can get,
Mm-hmm.
it's no longer a, oh well, let me, get something that is high quality and it'll last a long time. Now it's going right into everything else where we're this throwaway world. We used to say throwaway generation, but it has expanded to where we're a throwaway world now.
Yeah, yeah.
And so you get these cheap clothing that I might say from a seamstress point of view,
Mhm.
they're not good quality and they don't last long. So throwing them out does make sense, but all you're doing is adding to the problem because um, there's a surplus of discarded
Exactly.
clothing.
So the saving part, which is important, which we're calling our section to add into relationships that
Mhm.
Florence will be working with us in the future because this is her thing. It's an acronym actually. And
Yes.
the acronym is called strategically what?
Strategically aligned visionary economics.
It's a holistic financial approach for couples aiming to align their monetary practices with a shared vision and a long-term objectives. It's to also empower us as couples to achieve our shared financial goals and build a secure future together. I mean, it's important for us if we're friends and we want to keep that relationships, and we may have a certain level of living. I think it's called level of living that we have the kind of income that will help us out, especially when you get to the retirement age like we are near, or should be. I say I will probably never retire, but most people who do want to retire do it. Long story short, you need to have that income still coming in one way or other, whether you're making it by hands or it's coming in through investment or
Right.
something else. And of course, Florence would jump right on this real quickly. The bottom line is we're trying to empower us in our relationships, balance, healthy relationships, to look at those things. Make sure that we talk about those things. Make sure we look at principles behind it because it's important. And one of the best things I feel, just like in the relationships, when it comes to the human portion, basing it on the base called friendship. I believe on the financial portion, we should have it based on the basis called what? Save.
I'm sorry. My
You
whole
could tell this is not script. She didn't even know. She's
No,
been listening all the
I-
time. She couldn't even make the bridge
and
sleep at
and
all.
You are so right. But what did I do? I'm okay, folks. I got to stop doing this. I get so
Oh,
caught
caught
up
up when we
in,
talking.
in
Okay.
him talking that I hear what he's saying,
Uh-huh.
and I just want him to continue. And so,
Say hello to Emmy.
hello, Emmy. We're glad you're watching.
How you doing? Pretty smile too.
I am.
How about
I am
this?
so sorry.
Who's this?
But I can't help it. And I
Hello,
do this.
Tina, Susie Brooks. Glad to see you here.
Yes.
Hello, everybody there. Who
we
else is
are
here?
good. We're good.
You
So
know,
I
good.
apologize, and
Mark Hammonds. Wow.
I
Okay.
have got to stop.
Good
doing
evening.
that. So,
Okay. Anna, I don't know who that was. Anna, well, hello too. Just
yes.
want to make sure I popped them some names that popped up while we were
definitely.
talking. So we are seeing that the foundation in and Jennifer Peter too. We want to say in our foundation, like with a balanced relationship, which we say friendship is important. We want to say, so is it with your finances?
Yes.
Saving is important.
Saving is
It's,
definitely
and I don't
important.
mean trying to put it like in the old days. Like I think my older uncle did. He put it in the bed.
Like
Well,
that-
one of my uncles had actually had a safe.
like that.
Yeah, I remember he had
Like
a
that
safe.
commercial where the kids are learning
Yeah.
about finances
Mhm.
and everything, and the grandfather's sitting there, and he was like,
That's a Geico commercial.
"You're really learning finances." I remember in my day, we just put it in the mattress, and they went to his room, and he opened up his bed, and there was all this money in the mattress, and the birds started coming in.
They took it away. Yeah, I think that was a Geico commercial. But the importance of saving is very, very important. If I was younger, and I said if Florence was here, she'd just get on me. If I was younger, when I was younger, just get ready to get into marriage, probably out of the military sometime about 20 something, 21, 22, one of the two. I didn't make it a lifetime. But I remember insurance is come to me, the long-term insurance at the time that we only knew it called life insurance, of course, telling me that if I put this money in every month, then when I got a little bit older at the certain percent, the percentage then was so high now than what you could never get. Now it's not even fun.
Exactly.
I remember one time we used to think that if interest ever got below 4 or 5%, the world would come to an end. You remember that?
Yes.
It was like impossible. And then it went to 1%. We looked and said, well, is the world really come to an end? For some people's world, it did come to an end.
Yeah.
But anyway, never thinking that if I would have saved that money for all those years, how much money I would have had by now. Didn't even think it. My thought was, I'm living now. I'm not thinking that further in the future. And you can't convince me different, because insurance company could fall apart. The world could fall apart tomorrow. I might even die. So I'm not even thinking about for things in the long run.
But you know what? That comes down to the thing where we don't teach our children. And as children, we're not taught about these things. I was in a meeting with kids today, as a matter of fact. And you know, they were we were talking to the editor of this newspaper, and one of the questions was, do you get paid, and how much do you get paid? And so and somebody said, well, you must get paid to be, to do this. And and another girl said, well, we have to be here and we don't get paid. And someone said, well, you get paid in the long run. I said, you need to think of your education as a CD. You put a CD in the bank, and after a certain amount of time, the money that you put in is compounded. And they're looking at me trying to figure out because they know nothing about. They were thinking CD is in music.
Exactly. Exactly.
Like,
and they don't even use CDs anymore anyway.
I know.
But,
I was surprised they even made that connection.
But if somebody was back there like me in your classroom, I would think to myself, and then I go to college and I may get slipped up and get one of those large loans instead of grants. And then no matter how much longer I stay there and get a job, I'll probably never have enough money to pay it back anyway in the first place. So how well was that scenario when it comes to financial literacy?
Yeah.
Financial literacy is in that matter. I just say real quickly. And again, Florence, when she comes on, she'll say something different. Try to get grants. Okay.
Definitely.
Work if you have to. Okay. Don't pay big money on trying to eat out every day. Make sure you got a putt car also if hopefully
Yeah.
your what do you call it, your family can help you out with
Mhm.
from that particular end. And like Sharon and other folks, they stayed close when it comes to within your family, so you can go back and forth
Yeah.
and save money. So that's one thing you want to do. And then of course there's that other route. You can go right straight into trade skills. Trade skills right now pay well because
Mhm.
labor is like up the rocket. I wish I was a little bit younger and was doing some of the labor stuff of many things I could do, and my labor was nowhere as much as what they're charging labor right now, which is crazy. So there's that route, and of course there's a newer route that's out where you can actually get right into the manufacturers service or product
Like an
schools.
internship.
Well, no, it's not really internship. There were actually these classes out there, which I did when I was working for another particular company, and they send you to these manufacturer of classes that learn about that particular product that you have to work on.
Certifications.
It could most likely
Yeah.
get a certification,
Mhm.
or they will teach you a certain particular service. Well, now there's particular schools out there right now that you could actually skip all that stuff that college has core areas,
Mhm.
which is to me crap. But anyway, and you can go right straight to the needed information
Yeah.
in skills that you need to specifically go from there and get that job real quickly. So those are the things that are out there. Obviously, there's an entrepreneurial portion that has to do with what we know. Florence was here; she was talking about getting on her team. But anyway, you can actually just run your own business through whatever that product may be, being a digital designer or sell something on the internet, or all the many plethora ways that right now you can do that a lot of young people, influencers, are doing to be able to make finances and money from that end.
Yes.
Those are the kinds of things that I think that you need to think about doing as part of that foundation at the end of being able to save. The importance to save, on this case, coming up with strategic shared visions to do so that your relationship can be held down, as the young folks say, in the long run, is important. And you don't want it in such a way where you're begging Paul, stealing from Robin, and then Sam comes along and says, "Hey, where's Mary?" You go, "I don't know."
and Carol is saying, "I want mine too."
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Are you my baby daddy? Any way it goes, this is important. It's important.
It is.
Okay.
It is.
Anyway, I said enough.
Yes, and so and I keep going back to the thing of we got to teach our kids. Even
Yes.
if it is you get an allowance and you take you teach them how half of it goes into your piggy bank or whatever bank you have. And after a certain amount of time, open a bank account for your children, so that they know how to put money in and how to save money and how to keep up with it. But here's the thing. Sometimes you got to learn along with your children. If you don't know about banking, find out about it. They've got YouTube, they got financial planners, all kinds of things.
And we have Mad Flow.
Exactly. Have your children sitting there with you when you're learning about these things. It's okay. I don't understand how we have missed this for so long, that our children need to be sitting with us when we're doing things that are
many
important.
babies have had babies. They never were taught financial 101. I know some, as you know, they can't even write a check out, let alone write a cursive on the check or know anything about that at all. And what can I say? Because of that, the other marketplaces open up for that. You know what that is? Ready? Cash App.
Oh, Cash App. Oh, Cash
Can
App.
I go on?
Yes.
Cash App is the big. Apple Pay is another one. Well, Apple Pay is, excuse me, it's Apple products. Cash App, I can't come to my mind at this time another one, but I know Cash App is used a lot. Venmo, exactly. Those two. Remember those? They have replaced. Remember the money orders that Western Union we used to use?
Yeah.
As the single source of when you couldn't get a check,
right,
or you especially couldn't get a credit card from the bank because your money was just that low. You couldn't do that. And those existed. Now, money orders still, Western Electric still out there. Western Union, thank you, still out there.
Yeah.
It's used for a lot of people from different countries. But Cash App now is like it's a big thing. Yeah,
Definitely,
yeah.
definitely.
Got to watch out for that too, because they take a certain percentage too, if I remember
Oh,
right.
yes, they do. They
Yep, they
definitely
do.
do. All of them take a percentage or a certain amount.
Exactly. Well, I think with that, we have able to stop in a perfect place to do a commercial, and then we'll just come right back. How's that?
Oh, yeah,
So be
let's do
right
a
with us.
commercial.
Stay tuned. Share with your friends. Share with your neighbors. Share with everybody you know. We're talking about finances in your relationship, how saving is very important as that foundation. And we'll come back and talk a little bit more. Wow, that commercial gets me every time, doesn't it?
Yes, yes.
That was a wow created commercial done by a young lady by the name. What's Ty's last name?
Neely.
Did such a good job when we did our first wow workshop.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, hey, on that note, if you're excited to want us to come and do a wow workshop wherever you are at, you can always go to that email right there at the bottom.
TTJT at takingthejourney-together.com.
Or you can actually call 912-421. Oh, is that the number now?
No.
No, it's 912-421-8862, right?
Uh-huh.
Right?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. You can always give us that call there or that email, and we can work with you at your church, at your community center, however you would
At
like.
your home.
Exactly. Well, I don't know what's someone's your
Well,
home, but
sometimes people have homes that have these large areas where they can entertain
we,
several
we,
groups.
we will
So
probably look at more either the churches or the community centers first to get that opportunity, because there's many communities have community centers and they could
yes,
use that for the community, and what we're presenting to the community. And of course, there are churches too will look at the same thing. Both
yeah,
those things. Give us a call on that telephone number, and we can be able to help you out and
yes.
try to make it so that we can come there and share this knowledge along with you.
And
Um,
if you have a restaurant, we can do it at your
and
restaurant.
that's another good one too. Definitely,
Yes.
definitely have something to eat while we're and they're giving you some good information that you could take along with you. We also someplace else where.
We are, you can also find us on Saturday mornings from 9 to 10 a.m. on WRUU. You can find us WRUU.org. It is a radio station at 100.5. Is it 100.5?
Mm-hmm.
100.5. And yeah, we're there. We're also talking about healthier, thriving relationships at that time. Um, and that is WRUU.org.
I don't have. I think it's 107 point.
107.5. It
Yeah,
is.
yeah. That's what I thought it was.
107.5. Thank you. You're
Yeah.
right.
Okay.
107.5. I was way off on that one.
Yeah. Well, anyway,
Yeah.
let's go back to where we want to go, and I want to present something real quickly on the screen before people get. Hey, where is it at?
It ran away.
Mm,
No, it should
where is
be
it
there.
at?
There it
It
is.
is. So if it's there,
Then
let's
there
try
it
this.
is.
So
Yes.
okay, I want you to tell people about this, Sharon.
Okay, I am so excited about this. And because we started at kind of a later time uh, with this, we had the time to get 6 couples to be entered in our drawing for a free cruise has been extended to, is it May 24th or something
Yeah,
like that?
in May. Yeah, May 24th,
Yes.
the end of May. So it's
Yes.
not May 24th anymore.
Okay.
And 6 of them get a special gift that you also talk about to the
Yes.
first 6.
Yes.
And it's only a $250 or $250 deposit to get
Exactly.
things started. So if you got your camera, you can always put it up to the QR code if you can see that. And we'll take you right to the same length, and we'll take you to a page where you just fill out your name and email address, and that information goes to our travel agent. She will then send you back another form that basically says what room you want, balcony or
What type of
cabin, and what
Yeah.
kind of things you like for food, and
Mhm.
all the good stuff the cruises do and put together. And then she sends you back another email that's connected with the cruise itself, Carnival
Yes.
Sunshine, in with her information, because she's the cruise agent, or excuse me, the
Mhm.
travel agent.
Yes.
And they start working with you on your payments, and you got enough time too, if you
because
think about it, because it's
the
not until
week of Thanksgiving, we set sail from Charleston, South Carolina, and we returned there on Thanksgiving Day, and we leave on the Saturday before, and on Saturday night, Sunday, and Wednesday, we will have things that are very focused for the hot workshop, but we'll also have some things that will be taking place on Monday and Tuesday also that are a part of relationship building as you go out and enjoy the islands together. And
Mhm,
so so we have a lot of really good things planned, a lot of fun things, and some um, things to make you remember why you're in the relationship together. And some of you have already have never forgotten why you're in your relationship, and for those people it is just a restoking of the fire, the
mhm.
flames of your relationship.
Exactly. We
And
call it rebuilding or expanding it,
yes.
or bring it back into memory. I mean, we do that with our cars. We do that with our houses.
Mhm.
We do that with new foods. We do that
Yes.
sometimes with a job. I mean, when it comes to anything of growth, expansion, rebuilding. We do that with a lot of physical things,
Mhm.
but we don't necessarily think about we should be doing that with our relationships.
Exactly.
Another human being that we care about, we love. And how much more should we not do that of someone who we love that's your flesh and blood,
Right.
as another human being? Much more than you should be so concerned about first. When it comes to your material things, I'm not saying we shouldn't be concerned about some of our material things,
Mhm.
but again, that portion is that portion you try to look at when the saving area, because you don't want to be, as we talked about with the clothes, where you buy nothing but things and material things. So therefore, you get so much you forget about the human thing, and therefore it's
Exactly.
easy for you to say, I ain't thinking about
It's not
trying
that
to.
important.
Yeah, exactly. It,
Yes.
it don't take all that when it comes to a
Right, right,
relationship,
right,
and it does takes all
right.
that and more.
So you can also save
Mm-hmm.
your relationship.
Wow, I like that. What a way
Yes.
to do that. Save your relationship.
Hmm.
Okay. Wow. So now that we're finished with that, we also want to make sure to keep this open. Any questions that people have out there when it comes to financial relationships, please go ahead and text it in there if you can.
Or type it in.
Type it in and post it. We'll see if we can get to it and give you an answer.
And also take into consideration or
Mhm.
remember that we are relationship coaches, and we have no problem with having virtual um, consultation or sessions with people who are in need of it. Or and you don't and your relationship does not have to be in trouble for you to have coaching.
No, most of the time it's there because of the fact that you're not so much of a concern with it being in trouble. You're more concerned in or looking for it to be even that much more enhancing,
Mm-hmm.
enlightening, more
Uplift.
loving,
Yeah.
much better than what it is. And you
Right.
feel like, hey, there's more to this than
Mhm.
what's going on. And most people in a relationship, they, have an inner feeling that I know this relationship can be more than this. I
Yes.
know it can expand further than this. I know there's more depth to this than what we're just doing and
What's
being.
happening?
And you don't have to wait till it's retirement age, because usually by then, doing that when the kids go, usually by then you look at her and go, I don't even know you. Though still could be a good time to start that.
Yes.
This is a good time to get to know each
Yes.
other
Exactly.
and create a friendship.
Mhm.
I'm just saying it's a little more difficult then. It's
Yes.
best to start, as some people say, start right now where you are at.
Hmm.
Hmm?
And that's always a good thing. And so sometimes coaching and counseling has this um, cloud over it that if I go for counseling or coaching, then
Mhm.
we have a problem. But that's a misnomer sometimes. It is not always the case. And I just wanted to make sure that was
Yeah.
brought forward. So and you can just email us uh, or give us a call or text or something to that number.
I think it's
And
down here. I think I added finally a telephone number on it. Should be coming real soon. Instagram. And let's see, make sure. Oh,
there
there
it
it is.
is.
There's a telephone number.
912-421-8862.
Exactly.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So let's move on. Let's get right into the principles. We didn't get right into the principles, did we? Of our thing called save. Do you want to call it a thing? For some reason, I hate the word thing. What do you want to
I
call
do
it?
too.
Okay, what do you want to call it? Then?
Our strategy.
Strategy. Ooh, I like
Yes.
that. Our strategy.
Yes.
Okay, good. Yeah, we are now submitting to your strategy.
Ah.
What's the first one we got on the list?
The first one is its strategy itself.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and the strategy is the key part of it, where you take a well planned and deliberate approach to financial decision making.
Why is it that we would use the word take a well planned and deliberate?
Because you have to do it with a purpose.
Why?
Because otherwise, you go nowhere with it.
Okay.
You know,
Who says?
how many times have we said, "Oh, I'm going to save up some money," and then it's like, "Oh, I broke a nail. Let me go get my nail
Is
fixed."
that what happened to us?
It happens. It happens. You know,
Okay.
things come up and your nest egg is the first thing to go,
Mm-hmm.
because that's what you consider is the money on the side, but then it's like the mad money. So you
Mm-hmm.
need to have a plan as to how that saving is going to continue to be saved.
One of the reasons why I actually brought it up is because in most relationships, the idea of deliberately taking an approach to finances um, is not a thing that they deliberately do. I
Exactly.
mean, it's usually one of those things where the first thing is if a budget is not necessarily created in the
Hmm.
relationship,
And
the,
the
and
agreement is not made to stick to it.
well, the first things first,
Yes.
and I'm just going off the word deliberate. Some
Hmm.
people don't deliberately at all look at the fact that in
That's true.
turn, if you're doing something in the financial area of your well-being or your
Hmm.
relationship, a budget is the first thing you got to do. And most folks are like, what is a budget?
Yeah.
What I need it for?
Right.
So what is a budget? What is it needed for?
Yeah. They talk about a budget as I pay my mortgage, I pay the light bill and the water bill and stuff, but and then the rest of it is just what the rest of it is. Well, the budget puts a name to the rest of it.
Mm-hmm.
It says the rest of it is for the vacation. The rest of it is for the kids' education. The rest of it is for, what if the car breaks down?
Mm-hmm.
That's what the rest of it is, and it gives you a place, everything in its place, and a place for everything.
Okay. Okay. I would move on or expand that and say a budget is just a way of keeping track
Mhm.
of what you spend
Yes.
and then setting limitations to it or limits to it.
Yeah.
That's what it's about because most of the time, most of us, unless we got it from a family members before, most of the time when we spend, we're mostly sometimes in the, oh boy, does it actually just happen that way now?
Oh yeah.
We're impulse buyers.
Yeah. More so than ever.
Yeah. I mean, you
Because
got
we're
to have it
bombarded
now.
with it
Hmm.
everywhere.
That's the, mhm.
Social media,
Yeah.
uh, friends. You walk into a parking lot and you see a car that you've never seen before.
Hmm.
Gotta have it because I love it. That
Exactly.
type of thing. So,
Food's my friend. Got to have it now.
oh yeah.
Don't wait around. So savings just goes right at the door because
Hmm.
you got to have it now. If you don't have it, then you're not a happening.
Yeah.
You're not happening if you don't have it. If you don't
Right.
have all
Right.
these material things, you are not happy. You're not a person. You're not an individual. So there's no doubt about it. I can understand why a deliberate financial planning in the relationships would not be a visionary thing to do in that relationship. But in a balanced, healthy relationship, that's a thing you're going to be concerned about.
You have to.
You definitely in a balanced relationship, you're going to be concerned. Both of you know that you both spend money. Both of you are trying to operate as friends, so you're going to want to know how we're going to spend
Hmm.
money and how are we spending money together. I want to come up with a real funny kind of fun thing because I know we're now getting in the way. If Matt Flo was here, she just would jump all over it. I've got some way of how you can actually budget your money
Yes.
and make sure that it comes out and so on and so forth. I know she does. What was something you talked about last time that you said you did before that we had here as from funny, exciting, unique strategies that you can use? Because we're talking about strategies right now that you
Yeah.
could use in the area of budget,
Yes.
so it could be fun for you and your children. Again, it's all about keeping track of
Mhm.
where your money goes. Okay,
Yes.
and setting limitations on it of
Mhm.
how much money you have coming
Yes.
in and
Yes.
how much money you don't want to go out because at the
Exactly.
end you want to be able to have somewhat money
Money.
for savings.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So what I would do is, and I have to admit, I would get anal with it. But
Mhm.
what I would do is I would have envelopes, and and it would just be a different envelope with the name on it of what it is. Now, I mean, now the way things have changed, you can have different color envelopes, different types of envelopes. You could have the manila envelopes or whatever. But what I would do is I would have these envelopes, and every payday I would put a certain amount in. And so it would almost be like a bank book. I would put the date and the amount and the new total every time we'd get paid so that we would know how much it was growing. But then we would seal it so you couldn't take anything out. And on it would be, what it was for, like the trip to see family
Mm-hmm.
or for the amusement park or so and so's birthday. It would be for something, down payment on the house, whatever it was. It would be listed on the envelope. This is how much we need for that, and because that's the goal. And then my analness would take us to the thing of keeping a running tab of it.
Okay, and after all that, I was thinking to myself, that ain't fun. Probably fun for you doing it.
It was so much fun for me,
but I wouldn't think it was too much fun. But
I look forward to it every time.
I know you did. If you had children involved, people can tell that if they had children involved, they would probably love that.
Yeah.
Put animals and stuff like in front of it and all that good stuff. Anyway,
yeah, because that's another thing you can do is you can decorate the thing. Like, remember I got this one. We had I shouldn't tell on you like this.
What?
But you remember the jar that we had for you?
Mm-hmm.
And I decorated it saying that the money that goes into it was going to add up, and we were going to take a trip for it.
Yes.
And so I put like a little RV on it, or a boat or something. I can't remember now what it was.
You can tell people what the jar was.
Okay.
I'm not saying I'm so proud of it, but you can tell what it is.
We had a cuss jar for him.
Okay.
We got the idea from.
No, I don't never cuss. You can tell I wouldn't do something like
never.
that.
But we got the idea from Joe Madison when he was alive. He had the best show on radio, on Sirius
internet radio,
Sirius
out of
radio.
DC. Yeah.
Yes, and was an amazing man. But on his show, he would pop those little words out all the time. And so as he was throwing those words around, somewhere along the line, he came up with a cuss jar.
And they were donated to many
Charities.
good causes. So we just named one funny or exciting way that you could actually take a tactic when it comes to your finances in your relationship, and going through the process of trying to save a budget.
Yeah.
Now, here's one thing that I think I'm going to put in that a lot of people don't think about, that I had to find out the hard way, because I was involved with everything as for what started, what was the motivation behind it, what actually created it. I just didn't take things for face value. So my thought process was, how do you know how much money you should or not, or how much money you should or you shouldn't pay per different categories? Per week or per month. For instance, if it's entertainment, you come up with a certain amount. How do you come up with that amount? What is the formula, or what is the thing that I didn't know or couldn't catch on that can help you come up with those amounts were per category?
You put
a big goose egg.
You
Is that what you're doing? Goose egg.
You put a dartboard up on the wall, put different amounts on it, and you throw a dart, and where it hits, that's for entertainment.
You know what? That's what the experts told me too. Yep, the experts said the same thing too.
Are you serious?
No, I'm thinking about who's the budget guy that really is into saving money and making sure that he's Democrat too. No, he's independent. Come to think of it, and he's also for unions and stuff. What's his name? Bernie Sanders.
Oh, yeah.
We had one time he had him sitting in a chair. He had him every mean you could think of.
With his gloves on.
Exactly. I bet you Bernie does that. There you go. That's the budget. No, I don't think so. What I found out, what was done and should be done, the correct way, if
Yes,
you may
sir.
want to say what the correct way is,
Let us hear the correct.
was you first of all have to go through the trial and error, which you really don't do, or you really do, of actually spending the money. And spending the money day by day, if you want to do that. Usually they say at least do the spending for a whole week. Okay. And through that whole week, when you do the spending, keep track of your receipts. Many of times we have money coming out of our checking account, or from our credit cards, or even from Cash App. Keep track of those receipts, meaning what you spent those on. Okay.
Right.
And then at the end of the week, you can do it at the end of the day if you want to. Usually in the week, because budgets are usually based on weeks and then months, even though you can start from days.
Right.
And then find out on the average, you know how to do averaging, right? On what you spent in that category from a real, what they call snapshot.
Right.
Then after that's done, that average that you come up with That's the average you use.
I like that.
I mean, what else will the budget come
That
up
makes
with?
total sense.
That's what it can be. Now, other
I can
folks.
tell we're real analytical.
Yeah, well,
analytical
that is.
people.
That is. So there's some people who don't do that. There's some people that say, "This is how much money I'm making a month," and every one of those categories, guess what? This is how much I'm going to spend.
Yeah.
So I can have this how much money left over,
Mhm.
and that's how it goes.
Yeah.
If it doesn't end that way, then guess what? I don't spend no money in that category,
Right. Right.
or I try to make more income in. The way I told you, the way I came up with has everything to do with based on your own habits as an individual person.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Then it makes it much more comfortable to stay on the what? The budget.
Right.
Because it's really based on what you already do. Now, what happens with the budget is at the end of the week or the month, when you look at it, especially if you got a nice Quicken program, something like that, is you then are able to track, which you didn't take much time to do before. Wow, I spent a lot of money out eating every day. I kept on going to Papa Joe's, Papa John's, and McDonald's. I like the food anyway, but I spent almost
It was easy.
I spent almost $500 that week in that place. I really didn't even like it. And then you go, ooh, okay, I got to stop doing it. Then you become your own self-structured guide when it comes to your buying. Okay.
Yes.
Because you visually can see how much you're putting out. And being in the world that we do a lot of what? Impulse buying. You don't pay no attention. You just see it. You got it. You bought it. Hindsight like this, giving you 20/20 vision, helps it so that you won't continue to do the same thing if you want to stick to a budget.
And it's even better if that money is pulled out and put away before you have that opportunity to do that impulse, to act upon that impulse.
Exactly.
Yes.
Well, we are getting to the end of the show. Did you not see that?
I just noticed that.
Oh my goodness, we didn't see that already. So, folks, we're glad to see that you were here and all who did come. Hopefully you picked up some good information. I want you to make sure that you get that information again. See if I can do that real quickly. Where is it at? Yes.
There we are.
There we are. Where?
Yes.
No, that's not the one. No, here it is, right here. Where they can, it is right here. So you can give us a call if you want to, or look at our email address, because we certainly want to see some of you that we've seen from whatever cities, states, or countries you're from. We'd love to see you on our cruise that's coming up. Love to see you on that. And at the same time, we'd love to be able to work with you if you got any kind of questions or concerns you have when it comes to the coaching area. But we're going to see you next time. Hopefully we'll have Mad Flow with us. She'll talk about some mad things that you got to do, got to be prepared for when it comes to finances. And she'll get into it more in detail, and it won't be all that fun. But no, anyway, we'll be glad to see you there. You're going to say something.
But it'll be good.
It is. Until next time, God bless. Ashe, and may your relationship continue on taking that journey. Make it an adventure and together. Thank you.
Yes. Like this.